All right, Miles, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins here for a little bit. Mike McDaniel has this team heading in the right direction. Obviously, they had the great start last season. Injuries kicked them down the stretch a little bit. They did end up making the playoffs, fell short against the Buffalo Bills. Skylar Thompson, valiant effort, but he's not the guy. Obviously, though, looking forward, the future for the Miami Dolphins is bright. And I know we have two stories that is proof that Miami is heading 100% in the right direction in the AFC.
Yeah, Nick, we've got two really great stories today. But before we get there, you bring up the word future. We're thinking about next season. I want to ask the Dolphins fans in the comments below. Let us know, what do you think the biggest position of need on this Dolphins team is? Where do the upgrades need to be made that would be most impactful for this Dolphins team? Let us know in the comments below. But Nick, what is the first big story that we have for the Dolphins?
Yeah, so one of the under the radar news today was that Adam Schefter reported this, that the Miami Dolphins have hired a new defensive coordinator. So this is according to Schefter via one of his tweets. Schefter tweeted, after speaking with multiple teams about their defensive coordinator position, Vic Fangio has decided to join the Dolphins as their defensive coordinator and will officially accept the position on the Miami staff after the Super Bowl. Miles, I think this is a huge get for the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, Fangio is an experienced, quality defensive coach. He knows defensive football. There's a lot of experts that say the way Fangio designs defenses, the single high look, he does a lot of different man-on-man cover one looks, is kind of the way a lot of teams would prefer to play in today's NFL. But I'm going to take a step back from the X's and O's. And I think the reason this is a huge hire is because this gives Miami the tool they need to go up against the big dog in the AFC. I'm talking about, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs under Pat Mahomes. This season with Tyreek Hill gone, the Chiefs under Mahomes proved they're going to be contenders for a long time. Mahomes continue to play at a high level. He's most likely going to win MVP. They're on to another Super Bowl. We'll see how it turns out for him. But it doesn't look like the Chiefs are going to slow down anytime soon. So they need some way to counteract that a little bit, because Mahomes is great. You're not going to totally stop him, but you need to contain him. And Vic Fangio is one of the few defensive coaches that's had some sort of success against Mahomes. So if you look at Fangio versus Pat Mahomes, Fangio has held Mahomes to a 7.7 yards per passing attempt, 96 passer rating. Pat Mahomes, the rest of his career, is over 8 yards per passing attempt, 106 passer rating. So 10 points lower on passer rating. That's the big one there, Mize. Fangio versus Mahomes, Mahomes versus everybody else. That 10 points is huge, Mize, because if you look at that 10 points, that's the difference this season between Tua and Mahomes, the top two passer rating leaders in the NFL, and Andy Dalton and Trevor Lawrence. That's a big gap, right, between how those two guys. So that 10 points in passer rating is the kind of defense the Miami Dolphins can expect next season. And I really love Mike McDaniel and Greer making this hire, because this could be the one counteract against the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Dolphins, to me, are making this move because they see themselves as a real challenge to Kansas City. And I really think it's a really smart move bringing them onto the staff.
Yeah, Nick, the one thing I want to bring up with Fangio is his career history. And I'm just going to go down this list, okay? Early Texans, Vic Fangio, great defense. Mid-2000s Ravens, great defense. At Stanford, then San Francisco 49ers under Jim Harbaugh, excellent defense. A lot of heavy hitters on that team. Chicago Bears, great defense. Denver Broncos, known for some great defense. And most notably, this last stop at the Philadelphia Eagles, a great defense this season. So he's been the pioneer. I don't think he really has had an underperforming defense under his belt very often. I think he's going to be a big get for this team, Nick. But not only that, that's not the only news today that we have for the Dolphins fans. Finally, the news, we all knew it was coming, but it has officially been announced that Tua Tagovailoa has cleared the concussion protocol 38 days after he has started it. So he is good to go. They said he will be ready for football activities. Hopefully, we're thinking the first football activities is going to be this April, when spring training, all that kind of stuff comes up. But Nick, how big is it? How important is it that finally, we've all heard it, we all knew that this was coming, but it is official, all the doctors, anyone who need to check the boxes, Tua is clear to go.
Yeah, obviously it's a big deal, right? Because one of the things, it took a long time for him to finally complete the concussion protocol. There was some concern, a little bit of concern, but there was some concern that maybe it would just take too long, or they'd find other issues, or there'd be some chronic conditions that Tua would unfortunately suffer from. That is obviously not the case. He's cleared every hurdle, every possible hurdle they would put in front of him. And look, after what happened last season, the way he played after the concussion on short notice, you better believe the NFL and all their consultants and everyone around it, for legal reasons, was jumping through every possible hoop, checking every single thing they could, playing it 100% by the book and then even buy another book and then another book just to find some way to make sure that Tua is at no risk for further concussion injury, because that would be a massive PR nightmare and, of course, a massive legal nightmare if they made a mistake and rushed Tua back when he wasn't healthy for next season. Obviously, the fact that he cleared that is a great sign. And to me, I'm just going to go back and look at the Miami Dolphins. You look at where the Dolphins were last season before Tua got hurt. Tua, like I said, was right up there with Pat Mahomes leading the league in passer rating. Tyreek Hill was having an amazing season. Jalen Waddle was having an amazing season. They were scoring points on everybody. You get Tua back, you get Tua healthy, you get Tyreek Hill, you get Jalen Waddle. They're going to pick up right where they left off. You bring in Fangio to shore up that defense. Fangio kind of brings down the Mahomeses, brings down the Josh Allens, brings down the Joe Burrows. And suddenly this Miami Dolphins football team, they're not just a contender to maybe make the playoffs again. They're not a threat in the AFC East. I think they're a threat in the AFC. These two pieces together, healthy Tua, great defensive coordinator, I think is exactly what Miami needs to pick up where they left off in the middle of last season. And I think the future is bright in Miami.